Operation and maintenance of GHT160W will excavator. Important safety precautions. Each excavator operator must read the operation and maintenance manual and the engine operation and maintenance manual carefully, as well as be familiar with machine structure. Do not operate the machine without special training or obtaining the operating permit. Each operating and maintenance person must wear a helmet during the operating process. Any new excavator and any excavator after being overhauled must be put into operation only after running in. Before the continuous driving, put away 2 outriggers and plug anti-drop pins to avoid these outriggers stretching out to cause any insecurity problem in the case of exceptional circumstances. When leave the driver's seat, be sure to lock the safety lock lever firmly in the lock position. Before leave the machine, lower the bucket firstly to the ground completely, lock the safety lock lever, shut down the engine, lock all equipments with key and keep it by yourself. Do not jump on or off the machine. Do not board or leave any moving machine. When go on or off the machine, be sure to face it always, keep hands with handrails and ladder at 3 contact positions at least. Wipe oil drain and dirt at any time from handrails and ladder, or pedals. Avoid any inspection by opening the cap at a high temperature. When just stop operations, both temperature and pressure of engine coolant, engine oil, hydraulic oil and others are very high. If open the cap to check or replace filter elements at the time, there will be a serious burn. Be sure to check them according to the specified steps only after the temperature has dropped. Do not enter the machine or put hand, arm or any other part between moving components, such as between operating device and hydraulic cylinder or between machine body and operating device. When stop the operation of machine, turn off the power main switch to avoid any electric leakage and other accidents. Before welding the machine, be sure to disconnect the plug connector of power main switch and instrument system. Otherwise, elements on instrument will be burnt out. Machine overview. Nameplate. Bucket. Bucket link. Idler link. Bucket cylinder. Arm. Arm cylinder. Boom. Boom cylinder. Cab. Fuel tank. Hydraulic oil tank. Engine hood. Counterweight. Dozer blade. Tire. Front axle. Transmission. Transmission shaft. Rear axle. Outrigger. Air conditioning filter. Latch. Hydraulic lockout control lever. Left joystick. Right joystick. Boom light button. Seat. Footrests. Accelerator pedal. Brake pedal. Steering wheel. Light combination control lever. Gear lever. Control conversion button. Warning light flashing button. Start switch. Monitor console. Dozer blade and outrigger operating lever. Throttle knob. Climate control panel. Radio control panel. Top light button. Warning light button. Filter element heating button. Machine operation. Be sure to carry out the following inspections before starting the engine every day. Before checking, make the machine in a horizontal position. Check the coolant level. If the coolant level is too low, add coolant to the specified location. Check the oil level in the engine oil pan, which should be within the upper and lower limits of the dipstick. Check the water and sediment in oil-water separator. If there is any sediment, release it immediately. When draining water, exhaust the gas when it is suctioned into diesel oil tube. Check the level of diesel oil. Check the diesel oil level through monitor or tank port. If the oil level is too low, add the diesel oil. Check the hydraulic oil level. Observe the hydraulic oil level through an oil level indicator on tank. If the oil level is too low, add the hydraulic oil. Check the electrical circuit. If there is any fault, repair it. Check whether there is any loosening stud or nut around and below the machine. Check whether there is any crack, excessive wear or loosening of operating device, hydraulic pump, connecting rod or hose. If there is any abnormal situation, repair it. Clear dry leaves, weeds and other flammable materials around engine, radiator and battery. Check whether there is any engine or diesel oil leak with engine, whether there is any coolant leak with cooling system. If there is a leak, repair it. Check whether there is any damage to each tire, whether there is any debris between two tires, whether the air pressure is normal. Check the fixing bolts of the wheel rim and the connecting bolts of the transmission shaft. Check if the fixing bolts of the front and rear axles and other parts are loose. Check whether any cover, pedal or handrail is damaged. Check whether any bolt is loose. If it is faulty, repair it. Check if the seat belt is functioning properly. If it is faulty, repair it. Ensure that the hydraulic starting joystick is in the locked position and the traveling joystick is in the intermediate position. Ensure that no one is on or near the machine. Turn the throttle knob to the middle position between idle and high speed. Insert the key and then press the horn to warn there are people around the excavator and then turn the key to the startup position. Start the engine and then loosen the key immediately. The key will return to the on position automatically. Do not keep the starter motor running continuously for more than 15 seconds. If the engine cannot start, wait at least 2 minutes before restarting. When it is started in a cold winter, the viscosity of oil is increased and the battery performance will be reduced. Therefore, it is more difficult to start the engine. Start the engine with a starting fluid or a preheating method. Place the hydraulic lockout control lever in the unlocked, on, position. Extend both bucket rod and bucket cylinder completely and make their front ends 40 cm above the ground. Thus, make the machine in a drive position. Select the driving speed with traveling high/low speed shift joystick. Before drive the machine forward or backward, ensure to clear the relative position of upper structure and traveling device. The rear axle must be in the rear of machine. If the rear axle is in the rear and the front axle is below the cab, both directional and steering joysticks can be operated normally. If turn the cab to the above of rear axle, the driving joystick will be operated reversely. The steering wheel rotates to the right, clockwise, and the machine turns right. The steering wheel rotates to the left, counterclockwise, and the machine turns left. Please note that the rotation angle of the steering wheel should not exceed 30 degrees. The pilot valve handle at the left side of seat can control the rotation of machine and the extension/retraction of bucket rod. The pilot valve handle at the right side of seat can control the lifting of boom and the excavation and unloading of bucket. Pull the operating handle backward to lift the shovel, and push it forward to lower the shovel. Press the toggle switch, pull the operating handle backwards to lift the outrigger, and push forward to lower the outrigger. Select the driving speed with traveling high/low speed shift joystick. Ensure to start and drive again so as to avoid causing any personal injury when there is no one on or near the machine. Be sure to make the machine always under the control to prevent any personal injury. When drive the machine, be sure to align the upper structure with the traveling chassis. Retract the bucket rod, lift the moldboard, retract outriggers, insert anti-falling pins so as to make the machine in a stable state. When climbing a steep slope or crossing a hill, lower the boom as far as possible to the ground. When climbing or stopping on a slope, put the doom on one side of uphill. Stopping immediately after loading the engine will cause the overheating and accelerated wear of engine parts. Cool the engine and prevent overheating according to the following parking procedures. Turn the throttle knob to the idle position. Idle the engine for 5 minutes. That can cool the upper heating parts of engine gradually so as to extend the engine service life. Turn off the switch key to stop the engine. Leave the machine with handrails and tread ladders. Close the car window and lock the cab door. Machine transportation. When transporting the machine, comply with relevant regulations such as vehicle weight, height, length, and load safety. Pay particular attention to the handling of machine. Operate the machine with a low speed, and make the traveling speed of machine at a low 1. Select a sturdy and flat ground to keep an adequate distance with road shoulders and stone ridge. Remove grease, oil, sludge, snow, ice and others from board and the bottom of truck to prevent the machine from sliding into the sides. Do not change any driving route on board. If it is unavoidable to change, fall down firstly from board, and then change its route. When rotate on truck, operate it slowly because the foundation below it is unstable. Stretch big and small arm cylinders to their stroke ends, and lower the big arm carefully. Plug wood blocks in the front and rear of towing vehicle wheels. Fix the loading platform firmly. After loading, secure the machine with a rope with sufficient endurance to prevent it from moving and lock the car door. Machine maintenance. Before maintenance, the machine needs to make the following preparations. Park the machine on a flat surface and lower the bucket to the ground. Run at low speed without load for 5 minutes, let the engine cool down before turning off the engine, and remove the starting key. If the steps to turn off the engine are not correct, the turbocharger may be damaged. Pull the hydraulic locking lever to the locked position. Regular filling of lubricating grease. Lubricating grease is used to prevent distortion and noise at the connection. If any component appears inflexible or produces noise after prolonged use, lubricating grease should be added. Special attention should be paid to wiping off old lubricating grease everywhere, as sand or dust sticking to the grease can cause wear on rotating parts. The connecting pin shaft of the bucket and other working devices needs to be lubricated daily within 50 hours of operation of the new machine, and then every 50 hours thereafter. Add lubricating grease to the front and rear drive shafts every 50 hours of operation. Add lubricating grease to the rotating support area every 500 hours of operation. Add lubricating grease to the vertical shaft gear of the rotary reducer every 500 working hours. Apply lubricating grease to the front axle area once a month. Apply lubricating grease to the shovel and support legs every 100 hours of operation. Choose number 2 lithium-based grease as the lubricating grease. Regular maintenance of engine lubrication system. Lubricating oil may deteriorate during use, so it is necessary to use oil that meets the grade and viscosity provided in the user manual. Even if the oil is not dirty, it should be replaced according to the prescribed maintenance cycle. When storing or refueling, be particularly careful not to let any impurities enter. Do not mix different grades and grades of oil together. Refuel according to the prescribed amount of oil, as too much or too little oil can have a negative impact on the machine. When changing the oil, be sure to replace the relevant filter element at the same time. Check the engine oil every day after the new machine starts working. Replace the engine oil and filter element for the first time after 50 hours of operation of the new machine, and replace the engine oil and filter element every 250 hours of operation thereafter. The recommended engine oil specification is CH45W 30 diesel engine oil, and CH415W 40 low temperature oil is used in winter. The oil quantity for each engine oil change is approximately 10 L. Regular maintenance of engine fuel system. After the new machine has been working for 8 hours, drain the water and sediment from the fuel tank. Replace the fuel filter after 50 hours of operation of the new machine, and replace the fuel filter every 250 hours of operation thereafter. Check the oil-water separator after 50 hours of operation of the new machine, and replace it every 250 hours of operation thereafter. Regular maintenance of engine air filters. After 250 hours of operation of the new machine, clean the external filter element of the air filter and replace it with a new external and internal filter element after 3 to 5 cleaning cycles. During maintenance, open the air filter and remove the filter element. First, use a brush to remove the dust on the surface of the filter element or lightly tap the end cover of the filter element by hand. Then, use compressed air with a pressure of 0.4-0.6 MPa to blow from the inside and outside of the filter element. After cleaning, check the filter paper and sealing ring of the filter element. If there is any damage, replace it immediately. Simultaneously remove dust from the exhaust bag. Nt. Note that paper filter cartridges should not be cleaned with oil or water and should not come into contact with liquids. Regular maintenance of transmission devices. The rotary reducer needs to be replaced with new lubricating oil every 500 hours of operation, with a replacement oil volume of 1.6 L. The walking gearbox requires a new lubricating oil replacement every 500 hours of machine operation, with a replacement oil volume of 3.5 L. The front axle includes wheels, and the machine needs to replace with new lubricating oil every 500 hours of operation. The amount of oil used for replacement is 13 L. The rear axle includes wheel hubs, and the machine needs to replace with new lubricating oil every 500 hours of operation. The amount of oil used for replacement is 13 L. It is recommended to use GL585W/90 gear oil, and use GL575W/90 gear oil in winter. Regular maintenance of hydraulic systems. Check the hydraulic oil level after 8 hours of operation of the new machine. After every 500 hours of machine operation, replace the pilot filter element. After every 1000 hours of machine operation, replace with new hydraulic oil and filter element. At 4000 hours, replace the respirator filter element. It is recommended to use anti-wear hydraulic oil AW46 and replace it with a new oil of 144L. Regular maintenance of the cooling system. Check the coolant level of the new machine after working for 8 hours. Check and adjust the tension of the fan belt after working for 50 hours and 250 hours respectively. Press the midpoint of the belt between the fan pulley and the AC motor pulley with your thumb. When the pressure is approximately 98 N, the deflection must be within the range of 9 to 12 mm. If the tension is not within the specified range, loosen the adjustment plate and bracket bolts. Adjust the tensioning bolt to ensure that the belt deflection is within a reasonable range. Clean the radiator area every 500 hours of work, and use compressed air with a pressure of less than 0.2 MPa to blow away any soil, dust, or leaves that may be clogging the radiator and oil cooler blades. For machines equipped with air conditioners, it is also necessary to clean the condenser blades. After working for 4000 hours or every 2 years, replace the coolant with a new one, using approximately 23 L. Machine storage. Inspect the machine and repair worn or damaged parts. Apply lubricating grease to the exposed hydraulic cylinder piston rod. Lubricate all lubrication points. Clean the machine. Especially during winter storage, all parts of the excavator should be cleaned thoroughly. After the battery is fully charged, remove it and store it in a dry and safe place. If not removed, separate the negative battery cable connection. In winter, use antifreeze or completely drain the cooling water. Loosen the belts of the AC generator and cooling fan. Store the machine in a dry and safe place. If stored outdoors, cover with a waterproof cover. If the machine needs to be stored for a long time, it should be operated at least once a month.